The college football season ended with celebration, heartbreak, and unfortunately, controversy. And one moment after the national championship game is now going viral for all the wrong reasons, involving a player that Ohio State fans may remember very well. Let's talk about what happened, why it matters, and why Ohio State may have quietly avoided a major problem. A national title game that had everything. The 2025 College Football Playoff National Championship was already historic before the final whistle even blew. Indiana versus Miami, a matchup almost nobody predicted. One program chasing its first national title ever, and the other trying to cap a Cinderella run that shocked the entire sport. When the dust settled, it was Indiana standing tall. The Hoosiers defeated Miami 27-21, securing the first national championship in school history, and giving the Big Ten Conference 3 straight national titles. That alone is an incredible story, one that will be remembered for decades. But instead of the conversation staying focused on Indiana's historic victory, a post-game incident quickly stole the spotlight. The player at the center of the storm. That player, Mark Fletcher Jr., Miami's running back, had a huge postseason. Ohio State fans know his name well because at one point, Fletcher was committed to the Buckeyes before flipping and eventually ending up with the Hurricanes. In the Cotton Bowl semifinal, Fletcher torched Ohio State, scoring multiple times and playing a major role in ending the Buckeyes' season. He followed that up with another strong performance in the national title game, scoring 2 touchdowns against Indiana. But this time, his effort wasn't enough. And after the loss, things went sideways fast. The moment that shocked everyone. As Indiana players celebrated and confetti filled the air, emotions were running high, which is understandable. Losing a national championship is brutal. It's the kind of loss that stays with you forever. But what happened next crossed a line. Cameras caught Mark Fletcher throwing punches at Indiana defensive back Tyreek Tucker during the post-game chaos. Instead of walking off the field with his teammates, Fletcher let his frustration turn into physical confrontation, a moment that immediately went viral. The celebration turned tense. Coaches and players rushed in. Officials tried to break things up. And just like that, the final image of Miami's season wasn't their playoff run, it was a fight. Why this matters more than people think. Fights happen in sports. Emotions explode. Players are human. But where and when this happened is why it's such a big deal. This wasn't a random regular season scuffle. This wasn't a rivalry game. This was the national championship, the biggest stage in college football. Millions of fans were watching. Recruits were watching. NFL scouts were watching. Administrators were watching. Moments like this stick. And for Mark Fletcher, this may become a defining moment of his college career. Not his touchdowns, not his stats, not his talent, but this lapse in control. Ohio State fans are having mixed reactions. For Buckeye fans, the incident sparked a wave of reactions online. Some were disappointed, others weren't surprised, and many quietly said the same thing. Ohio State might have dodged a bullet. That's not a knock on Fletcher's talent. The guy is a beast. He's powerful, explosive, and productive. But Ohio State prides itself on culture, especially under Ryan Day, who constantly preaches discipline and composure. And here's the key difference that fans noticed. When Ohio State lost to Miami in the Cotton Bowl, no Buckeye players threw punches. No fights, no scenes, no headlines. They shook hands, walked off the field, and moved on. That contrast matters. Losing with class is part of winning. Every team will lose eventually. Even champions lose before they win. What separates programs is how they handle defeat. Indiana lost playoff games in the past. Ohio State lost big games before. Georgia, Alabama, Clemson, they've all been there. But the best programs lose with dignity, because they know the bigger picture. They know the next season is coming. They know scouts are watching. And they know their reputation lasts longer than one game. This moment made Miami look undisciplined, and it overshadowed what should have been a proud season for the Hurricanes. The emotional side of the story. Now to be fair, and this matters, Fletcher is a young athlete who just lost the biggest game of his life. His emotions were raw, his dream slipped away in front of his eyes. That hurts deeply. Anyone who has played sports at a high level knows that feeling, the anger, the emptiness, the disbelief. But learning to control that emotion is part of growing up as a competitor. Walking away would have changed everything. Instead, the clip is now everywhere. And unfortunately, that's how this season will be remembered for him. What happens next for Fletcher? That's the big question. Will there be discipline from Miami? Will the NCAA step in? Will this impact his draft stock? It's too early to know, but history tells us that NFL teams pay attention to behavior just as much as talent. They want competitors, not liabilities. They want leaders, not headlines. One moment doesn't define a career, but it can change the narrative. Indiana's championship deserved better. The saddest part of all this. It stole attention from Indiana. This was a once-in-a-lifetime moment for the Hoosiers. A program that had never reached this height. A fanbase that waited generations. A team that shocked the sport. And yet, instead of talking about their defense, their coaching, or their historic run, people are talking about a post-game fight. That's unfortunate. Indiana earned that title. They earned that celebration. And nothing should take away from it. Where Ohio State goes from here. For Buckeye fans, the season is officially over, and now all eyes are on the future. Ohio State is loaded with offensive talent. The roster is stacked. The recruiting machine is still rolling. But there's one massive question still hanging in the air. Who will be the next offensive coordinator? That decision may define the 2026 season. Indiana isn't going anywhere. Miami will be back. The Big Ten is stronger than ever. And the margin for error is getting smaller every year. Ohio State knows what needs to happen next. Mark Fletcher's post-game actions were disappointing, not just for Miami, but for college football. The sport is at its best when emotion fuels greatness, not regret. This should have been a night about Indiana's rise, Big Ten dominance, and a season that delivered chaos and drama from start to finish. Instead, it's also a reminder. How you lose matters just as much as how you win. Let me know in the comments. Did Ohio State dodge a bullet? Was Fletcher's reaction understandable? And should there be consequences? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.